A new discovery has shocked science to its core. The scientists are crumbling. The institutions are also crumbling. Everything is crumbling, except for you and everything not science related. But what is causing this horrible thing? There is one answer. You see, it is a long and convoluted one, but by the end of this, you should be able to know.
It's the 1980s, and the Soviets are faced with a crippling problem. Children in the Komodovo Oblast no longer desire to spend their future in coal mines. Fortunately, the Russians have a solution: space. Using an X-band radio satellite, they can fill their children with selfless patriotism from Planet X.
Now, you may be wondering, what is the X-band? And what is the X-band radio? And what is Planet X? Well, it turns out the original X-band is not true. It doesn't exist, you phony liar. But the other ones might actually exist. Now, you see, the X-band radio was discovered by two curious researchers working on genetic wildlife. Now, what is genetic wildlife, you may be asking? No one knows. No one knows. Anyways, what they were hoping to do is figure out where all genetic wildlife happened, but they accidentally stumbled upon the X-band radio. The X-band radio is... It's hard to describe what an X-band radio is and what does it do, but here's the best answer we can give you. The X-band radio is the ultimate trade station for Petri Maternal. This is possibly the link in the Petri Maternal trade route between you and Donald J. Trump, up there high in his Trump Tower. This is where all the Petri Maternal flows through, this satellite. It was made by the Soviet Union, but after the Soviet Union fell, it was finally launched by the Russians in all of places, California. California was known to have very sympathetic ties to the Soviets back then, and we're glad to help them out. Now, Planet X is a horrendous thing that we found out via the X-band radio when a few people were up there and they saw Planet X. Planet X is another planet being secretly hidden by the people who run the X-band radio. What it is a secret planet that goes along Earth's orbit, and every 3,000 years it wrecks tidal conditions, gravitational waves here on Earth. This is what caused the Bronze Age collapse. Now, there is one other resource we can use for understanding Planet X and the X-band radio. This is our useful chart for understanding X-band radio. As you can see here, we have title X-band radio. Now the band comes from the radi is the product of corporate breed. Now the X is suspicious, right here. Everything suspicious leads to this, right here. The X in Planet X is also suspicious. And the X is also suspicious, which stands for Petri Maternal. Now Petri Maternal comes from the letters of Donald J. Trump and Putin, last name unknown. And this leads to Petri Maternal. Now, suspicious leads to, what does it mean? Well, obviously it leads to diamond mines that might happen on Planet X. However, it also leads to this, a map of Europe. As you can see here, this is the unknown fourth Baltic state, Cambodia. Obviously, this fourth Baltic state was never realized until, I don't know, a while ago. But this is a very important Baltic state, of course. This is where all the other previous attempts at X-band radio were launched from. Now, this is a futuristic map of Europe. As you can see, it is a map of East Germany, which is an imperial possession of the Second Reich, or the German Empire. As you can see here, we have Andorra, France, Cambodia, and Greater Ireland. However, there is one final question. But what about Boris Yeltsin? The answer? No one knows! Remember, this is 100% real. R-E-A-L... Oopsie. L... Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. See? Totally legitimate. And remember, when you're doubting everything, remember, expand radio. Oh? And this is the science behind X-band radio. Obviously, this is very legit. However, for the more skeptical of our viewers, you might not take this scientific masterpiece as evidence. And so I say to you, ha! Because guess what this is? This is an actual rock from Planet X. An actual rock surface with some alien language inscripted on there. As you can see here, this is the most prime evidence that Planet X exists, besides, like, everything else, because pretty much everything else leads to Planet X existing. Oh, and by the way, this is available for 99.99.99. It's much better than Trump's NFTs. You need it. You don't need Trump's NFTs. You obviously need this. It's much less going to get us arrested, isn't it? Anyone? Oh yeah, it definitely isn't. Everyone's agreeing with me in here in the studio.
Subscribe. 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 Subscribe.